you can count on us. This is 7 News Good Morning Fort Sill.
Well, happy Tuesday morning. It's the day after Labor Day. A lot of folks coming back in off of an extended long weekend. I know my son went back up to college yesterday, so up to
hopefully all those service members out there got a chance to get a little bit of a break, right?
Exactly, yeah. So back into the grind today, but I don't know. I think we got a pretty good show today, right?
Yeah, got a lot to get to, but first let's dive into the weather with Ulysses Garcia. And Ulysses, please tell me we're staying out of the 90s again today.
Yeah, it looks like today we might be just a touch cooler here across Texoma. And as of right now, it's looking like the fog doesn't look to be as big of a factor as what we had yesterday so far over the last couple of hours. So hopefully that trend will continue as we make our way towards sunrise. 89 degrees yesterday, so very close to 90 degrees here in line. 67 degrees the low temperature. 92 is normally where we're at. 68 is also the low temperature for yesterday's date. So overall, below average day. But notice the visibility much better than what we had yesterday. Yesterday, at times, you barely could see our Ashley Home Store Tower Cam in Burke Burnett. Looking at your morning PT forecast at Fort Sill right now, partly cloudy to mostly clear skies, 69 degrees, light wind at 3 miles an hour, 1 degree warmer from this time yesterday, sunrise at 7:08. And as we go through the next couple of hours, we'll see our temperatures drop down into those mid to upper 60s, eventually start warming things up into the lower 70s by 9 a.m. And by this afternoon, we'll deal with upper 80s, maybe a few spots off towards the west to the lower 90s, but we'll talk more about those temperatures and rain chances throughout the show.
We start with the ongoing situation in the Windy City. According to the Chicago Police Department, at least 54 people were shot over the Labor Day weekend.
President Donald Trump has long criticized Chicago for violence, and he's expected to take action soon. John Lawrence reports.
Last month, the Trump administration called for federal troops to take over Washington, D.C., and now Chicago could be next.
We will continue to go after the worst of the worst across the country, like President Trump has told us to do, focusing on those that are perpetuating murder and rape and trafficking of drugs.
President Trump has repeatedly blasted Chicago about crime, and a federal immigration enforcement operation in the Windy City might start later this week, according to sources close to the matter.
Have not called the city of Chicago or anyone else. So it's clear that in secret they're planning this. Well, it's an invasion with U.S. troops if they, in fact, do that.
Chicago officials are preemptively fighting back. Over the weekend, Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order that says police will not collaborate with federal agents. As for Chicago residents, opinions are mixed.
We don't need a Band-Aid to cover up the problem. What we need is a solution. No offense to the president, but we actually need someone that's in this community.
The residents deserve more. They deserve to feel safe. The crime should not take over the city. The crime should not make residents feel like they can't live everyday life.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Thanks, John. And looking at our Fort Sill news, we are coming up on 24 years since the attack on 9/11. And each year, people across the country hold remembrance events in a variety of ways.
That's right. Fort Sill hosts an annual 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony and Run. We spoke with Fort Sill Special Events Coordinator Ethan Briner about this year's September 11th event.
We'll kick off at 7:40 in the morning at McNair Hall, followed by at 8:05 we will kick off our 4-mile run. It is open to the public. It is completely free. We welcome everyone to come out and take part. We have brigades and battalions and platoons, international soldiers all running in it, and it's just a way to remind people there's a lot of our soldiers that are currently active. They weren't even born when this happened, and it's a way for them to learn the history, honor those that lost their lives, both our service members and our first responders. This changed our country, and we never, ever, ever want to forget.
So they will have a 4-mile run or walk as well as a 1-mile run or walk. Check-in is at 7 in the morning in front of McNair Hall with the ceremony at 7:40 just prior to the start of the run. The event is free and open to the public, as you heard there from Ethan. However, if you do want a t-shirt, medal, and a bib, you must register either online at sill.armymwr.com or you can do it in person at Building 4700 at the Welcome Center there, room 151N. The cost is $35. And Fort Sill's monthly Sill Facts Town Hall will be held today at the Patriot Club at 11 a.m. Sill Facts is an open forum and a perfect opportunity to learn about local resources, ask leaders questions, and hear from support organizations both on and off post. The event is free and open to the public.
I'm sure we'll get some good information.
Sure thing. Yeah,
today.
Definitely.
Well, for our service members just arriving or getting ready to leave the ACS lending closet, as you covered, with basic household items free of charge for up to 30 days. It only requires a copy of your orders and ID card. Now, this is an extremely valuable but often underutilized service. You've used it before.
Yeah,
right?
so we talked about this yesterday. So I've used this a number of times coming into installations, especially when your household goods haven't arrived yet. Really good resource. Again, free basic household items.
For more information, just call one of the numbers on your screen.
And just a reminder, so this is coming up this month. So we first talked about this a few weeks ago. Fort Sill's upcoming Black Start exercise is next Wednesday, September 10th. It's a DoD mandated and planned power outage exercise that tests how well systems can recover from a complete power loss. The exercise will run from 4 in the morning until noon. Soldiers and families are asked to plan accordingly.
Freedom Elementary School's power will be restored before the start of school to avoid any interruptions in school operations. For more information, you can visit Fort Sill's Facebook page or download the My Army Post app for real-time updates.
And taking a look at south of the Red River, so Shepherd Air Force Base is calling all kids and their families to join them for their annual Kid Run. The race gets underway at 7:30 Friday evening, and costumes are welcome.
Hopefully they'll have some good costumes out there.
Yeah, there you go, sure.
The officials will be handing out T-shirts for the first 100 people, but sizes are limited. The event is free and open to everyone to attend. For more information, you can contact the Magical Youth Center at the number on your screen. Today in military history, we remember Victory over Japan Day, or VJ Day.
So on September 2nd, 1945, World War II came to an end, an official end, when Japan officially surrendered. The formal surrender documents were signed aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. The announcement actually came weeks earlier, so we actually talked about this on that day, on August 14th, when Japan accepted the terms of the surrender following the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
A ceremony honoring the 80th anniversary of VJ Day will be held today at the National World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. Wreaths will be placed at the memorial's Freedom Wall in remembrance of the more than 400,000 Americans and 60 million people killed worldwide during World War II. A parade of heroes commemorating the events and the veterans in attendance will follow. And in Hawaii, they've been honoring the anniversary of VJ Day with events at the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum, hoping to connect younger generations to the greatest generation. That includes honoring the men who were actually on board the USS Missouri when the Emperor of Japan formally surrendered to the Allied forces. Today, they'll reunite on the battleship 80 years later.
There are 8 World War II Missouri crew members who witnessed the ceremony, who are with us now. This is especially significant because we feel this is probably the last time, that we as a nation can really honor and recognize these men for their service and sacrifice.
USS George Washington is back in Tokyo after an extended hiatus. Your latest Air Force and naval news coming up right after this break.
Don't wait to see the news that affects you. Know first with 7 News at 4 p.m.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing? Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are. Here's your First Alert forecast with meteorologist Ulysses Garcia.
Welcome back, everyone. And looking at our Jackson County Memorial Hospital tower cam analysis, if you remember 24 hours ago, the visibility was quite poor at this time in analysis, and then it improved by the time we made our way closer to sunrise. So definitely quite different, a complete 180 from where we were 24 hours ago. Looking at the temperatures currently, though, upper 60s pretty much north of the river, 68 in Duncan, 69 Lawton, 67 in Frederick, 69 Hobart. South of the river, we're dealing with a few spots at 70 degrees, 70 in Vernon, 71 in Childress, 69 Wichita Falls, 67 over towards Graham. Visibility, though, notice not as bad. 7 in Chickasha, 8 over towards Elk City, 1 mile down towards Graham. And that area, especially Graham, actually had visibility for quite a while yesterday at 0 during most of our Good Morning Texoma show. A lot of that time period between 5 and 7, visibility was 0, nil, and even continued after 7 o'clock as well. We have a little weak front that pushed through, brought some extra clouds, maybe even a brief shower during the evening hours, but for the most part, we'll still deal with leftover summer clouds as we go to this morning. And then by the afternoon, we'll have a good amount of sunshine. About a 10% chance of a shower is possible. Mostly clear skies for tonight. A little more clouds down towards the south, but as we make our way into your Wednesday, a great day. And then as we progress into your Wednesday night, we'll have another front begin to push through. That could bring us an isolated shower or thunderstorm. As we fast forward, say, towards Friday, we'll have mostly cloudy skies, but only about a 20% chance of a shower. And as we progress into the weekend, we'll start seeing our rain chances increasing Sunday going into Monday. For your morning PT forecast, upper 60s this morning, warming up into the 70s, and for today we'll top out around 87 degrees.
So Kyle, very, very important to discuss this next topic. So 22, so that's the number that's been talked about for a while now, the number of veterans that die by suicide every day.
September is Suicide Prevention Month, and installations across the country are doing their part to help our service members who may be struggling. Fort Sill is reminding soldiers to take 60 seconds to check in with someone at the beginning and end of their day.
While at home, create a no phone zone during meal times, before bed, or at a specific time. Also, don't forget to socialize with a friend or a co-worker to strengthen connections and to relieve some of the stress from work and home life.
Now, if you or anyone you know are struggling with suicidal thoughts, you're not alone. You can contact the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 or text 838-255 to speak with someone anonymously. Both services are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Hey, Kyle, so like for that, we were talking about this earlier before the show. This is a very serious topic, and something that, that we currently continue to work through and discuss in the veteran community, both, to be honest, in the society too. If you look, Suicide Awareness Month in general is September, not just veterans. I think we are going to look at trying to do a little bit more in depth on some of the mental health and behavioral health resources for military service members, family members, and veterans too in our community. And we'll look at doing a little bit more of that this month as well.
Well, September is also National Preparedness Month, and Fort Sill is highlighting the importance of being ready before disaster strikes.
So they say whether you're new to Oklahoma or have been stationed here for a while now, make sure your loved ones are prepared in case of a severe weather emergency. Some of the other ways you can stay ready are to make a plan, build an emergency kit, stay informed with local weather apps, and stay engaged on social media. Well, in Navy news, so a grand jury has indicted 2 civilian workers who caused the Navy to provide the Hawaii Department of Health with false information about a jet fuel spill at Pearl Harbor back in 2021.
Yeah, so that fuel seeped into drinking water and sickened over 6,000 people during Thanksgiving of that year. The military decided to close the aging World War II era fuel tanks after that spill.
So a Navy investigation in 2022 found shoddy management and human error caused the leak. The Defense Department's Inspector General last year found Navy officials lacked sufficient understanding of the risks of maintaining massive fuel storage tanks on top of a Pearl Harbor drinking water well.
Well, the USS George Washington has returned to Tokyo after a 3-month absence.
The carrier returned to the home of the U.S. 7th Fleet nearly 3 months after its June 10th departure, which kicked off its first deployment since relocating to Yokosuka in November.
Since its departure, the George Washington has carried out flight operations in the Philippine Sea, made port calls in Manila and Guam, and participated in the biannual Talisman Sabre exercise in Australia.
And the Department of the Air Force says they've reached a key developmental milestone in their collaborative combat aircraft.
The CCA conducted test flights at a California test site. The test contributed valuable data for the platform's airworthiness, flight autonomy, and mission system integration.
So the CCA supports the Air Force's broader initiative to field large quantities of modular, affordable, and operationally relevant uncrewed aircraft designed to fly alongside crewed 5th and 6th generation aircraft. Well, a cadet from West Point leaped into action to save a man from a burning car. We'll have this heroic tale coming up next on Good Morning Fort Sill.
Don't wait to see the news that affects you. Know first with 7 News at 4 p.m.
This just in, the town of Velma is being evacuated.
Stay connected to the team you trust your way. Get breaking news and investigations here on the 7 News app.
Mark, what are you seeing? Right now I'm here at 2nd and F.
Instant forecast with real-time alerts here on the First Alert 7 weather app. And stream live on your TV here or watch anytime on your schedule. Download all 3 for free. Stay connected to 7 News wherever you are.
Looking at international headlines, so Israeli strikes in western Gaza City have killed at least 18 Palestinians, including 6 children. Israeli officials say that the attacks targeted a key Hamas terrorist, and they employed numerous mitigation techniques to reduce harm to civilians.
Last week, the military declared Gaza City a dangerous combat zone ahead of the planned assault, which Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls one of Hamas's remaining strongholds. Well, switching to our good news in the military, the Wilmington National Cemetery in North Carolina is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Among the thousands laid to rest, there are over 2,000 soldiers from the Civil War. Here's a closer look.
Driving on busy and loud Market Street, you might miss it. But you probably passed by the Wilmington National Cemetery. A calm and quiet place, honoring our country's fallen service members.
The Wilmington National Cemetery is a national shrine. We commemorate the men and women who served, and this is a special place. It really does allow us to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
The cemetery opened in 1867 when the federal government purchased the land from a local resident to lay our troops to rest.
The first remains that were brought here were from Fort Fisher and also the surrounding cemeteries. Some of the headstones are over 150 years old.
Over 6,500 veterans from all across the country are buried here.
1,300 of those are unmarked as unknown. Unknown is there's no registry. We don't know who they are, so they're simply memorialized by a number.
But there are a few people interred here who didn't serve in the military.
Okay, so that's over here to the left.
They were Puerto Rican workers helping build Fort Bragg.
They were on a ship that caught influenza.
There are some other headstones standing out too, including George B. Whited.
So he was a World War I vet and also a Major League Baseball player.
Another one, especially meaningful for National Cemetery Administration Program Assistant Jose Garcia.
This one right here
is the last soldier killed in action buried here.
He died in Afghanistan in 2012.
A veteran himself, Garcia remembers making it home from Afghanistan one day after this man died there.
This is one of those that kind of hits home.
But each and every one of these headstones should hit close to home for all of us.
Freedom really isn't free.
Because they all wore the uniform and gave their lives for us to live ours freely.
Even the ones that didn't die in a war or in a battle, it's important to know that those people were selfless. And we need to commemorate that, and these cemeteries will be open forever.
Pretty powerful stuff.
Very powerful, yeah, definitely.
Well, a West Point cadet and his father saved a man from a car wreck just seconds before it burst into flames over the weekend in New York.
Larry Pickett Jr., who also plays for the Army football team, jumped into action to carry the driver to safety after they crashed their vehicle into a utility pole.
Moments later, the car became engulfed in flames. The father and son stayed with the driver while he was being treated by medical personnel.
To see my son spring into action, like to run towards a car that has a power line on it and under it, it was amazing.
It just goes back to selfless service and just the willingness to serve others. It feels good, but in the end, I'm just glad that everyone's okay.
Great to see a young man just jump into action right there. Well, every year the U.S. Open recognizes members of the U.S. military as part of their mission to honor Lieutenant Joe Hunt, the only U.S. Open champion to die in service to his country.
Hunt was the U.S. Nationals champion, an NCAA champion, a Naval Academy graduate, and a Navy football star. Like so many of his generation, he put aside his personal achievement to answer his nation's call.
Now, Hunt won the 1943 U.S. Open Tennis Championships in New York City while on leave from the Navy on February 2nd, 1945. Hunt's F-6F Hellcat fighter aircraft crashed in the Atlantic Ocean east of Daytona Beach, Florida during a training flight. His body was never recovered.
Here's your first alert with meteorologist.
Much better than we were yesterday morning, that's for sure, with all the fog and the visibility rather poor. Looking at the dew points now, a little bit on the sticky side. Temperatures in the 60s when it comes to our dew points. A little bit better off towards the west into the lower 60s, approaching closer to 70 off towards the east. When it comes to the upper levels of the atmosphere, we do have an upper level high over parts of Mexico, a little bit of a ridge building over the west, and it even includes over our area, while a trough and a dip in the jet stream over into the eastern half of the United States. Now for us here, though, we're dealing with just a weak little front, bringing some clouds, maybe a 10% chance of a shower as we go throughout the morning hours, more sunshine this afternoon. As we progress into tonight, mostly clear skies north of the river, and then we'll actually deal with a good amount of sunshine as we go into your Wednesday. Your morning PT forecast at Fort Sill, mid to upper 60s, warming up into the lower 70s later on this morning. And then for your 7-day forecast, we'll actually see our temperatures actually briefly hit 90 degrees here as we make our way through the Wednesday and going into your Friday. But notice by the time we go towards the weekend, temperatures really do take a bigger dive as rain chances actually increase.
Well, that does it for this Tuesday edition of Good Morning Fort Sill.